We're standing here in the lobby at ArenaNet, where these guys have been pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into Guild Wars 2 for quite some time now. How do you feel about the project at this time?
I'm really excited about it. I think that there's an energy around the studio right now where everybody is really excited. We feel like we know what game we're making, we know how to make it, we know that people are really excited about it, and we're at the point now where we just need to finish it. We need to put all the little pieces together, get all the rest of the content in the game, and get it out there so everybody can check it out. So I feel great, and everybody here is really excited and feels really good about what we're doing.
So if we move back in time a little bit to the time when you sort of set out to start with Guild Wars 2 and your ambitions then and your plans, can you tell us a little bit about what you wanted to create?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us when we first started out on Guild Wars 2 is we said, we don't want to make a safe game. We want to take a lot of chances. We want to make a game that defies conventions of what people see in a traditional MMO. We want to change up what we did in Guild Wars 1, and we want to take things we did well, and we want to do those better. And we want to find things that we didn't do that well, and we want to do those much better, and we want to change them entirely in Guild Wars 2. And that's really, the entire process as we've been building this game. That's been our mindset the whole time, is how do we find a way to make something that we did and take it to the next level, or find something that we didn't do, integrate it into our game, and make it fantastic.
So I think you make no secret about the big World of Warcraft that, yeah, you don't mention it, but you're taking them on, you want to be #1. Where do you feel that, Guild Wars 2 sort of eclipses that and sort of does enough to pry people away? Because I think there's been other games that have done things better than World of Warcraft since that came out, but they haven't been able to pry people away from it. So what do you feel it is that Guild Wars 2 offers?
Well, first off, I'll say that we actually don't view World of Warcraft as direct competition to us. World of Warcraft is a game that you pay a monthly fee for, and we don't charge a monthly fee for Guild Wars 2. And as a result of that, we really don't consider them direct competition. We don't feel that we need to take all their customers away from them. We don't think we need to beat World of Warcraft. We think what we need to do is make a fantastic game that people love, and they will go out, they'll buy our game, and they can play it as much as they want. They don't have to pay a monthly fee to do so, and they can have our game, and they can have World of Warcraft if they want, or they can have any other game that charges a monthly fee, and they can play both of those games. And so there's no reason that we need to directly go head-to-head with them. We just want to make a great game, and we want to make a great Guild Wars 2 game, and other people are going to make great MMOs of their own style. And our hope is that they'll love our game, they'll play our game, and they'll also have their regular MMO they may also play, or maybe they'll only play our game. Either way, that's okay with us.
That's one of the benefits with not having a subscription fee, is that you're not really pushing the player. He doesn't have to play every night, or and I think that somehow that's also ties into the design you have with the events going on. It's just something that it's not forced upon the players, like a quest that you need to do at a certain time, or so on and so forth.
Yeah, definitely. We want our game to just be fun at its heart. That's the biggest thing, is we want you to be able to come home and say, I just want to fire this game up and go have some fun for a while. And our dynamic event system is at the core of that. Our game world is constantly changing and evolving as these dynamic events are going off in the game, and players from all over the map are coming together, they're participating in the events, they're making new friends, and they're kind of forming these ad hoc groups where they end up getting to play together, and then they spread back out, and some of them might become friends, they might join groups together and go do different content, or they may just run off and go their merry way and go find something else to do. But that's really what our game's all about, is these events happening in the world, so the world feels different every time you log on, every night when you play. We want the game to feel a little bit different and feel like you're experiencing something unique and something special. So you don't have to be there all night. You can come in for 20 minutes, you can come in for an hour, but you're going to experience dynamic events, and you're going to experience this ever-changing, living world that you can be in.
I really enjoyed that, but I do think that there are MMO players out there who are sort of, they want a specific task, they want to go for that loot, they want to do that raid or that dungeon, or so on and so forth. How does Guild Wars 2 cater to those kind of players who need that specific goal to go after?
It's a great question. There's a lot of things that we're trying to do to cater to those players as well. We have coordinated raids. We're calling those dungeons in Guild Wars 2. And they're highly organized, much more difficult content. They're 5-man group dungeons. They involve a lot of group coordination, a lot of working together, and they have a lot of rare armor sets and weapon sets that have looks that you can only get out of doing that content. And that's stuff that's specifically designed for that kind of player that you're asking about. Those are their goals to set and the things that they can try to earn and work towards. We also have a lot of that stuff out in the explorable world and out in the game world as well. Your personal story that your character has an entire progression that you go through on your own. And you can bring your friends with you if you want, or you can just do it on your own. But there are a bunch of rewards that you get as you play through that. We have an achievement system where players can basically collect achievements in the game by doing a bunch of really cool things. You can go off and explore and find rare vistas in the game, or become a slayer who hunts a certain number of creatures. You can get famous a lot of different ways through this achievement system, and there are a lot of rewards that come through that as well, through titles and other things. So we try to layer in a lot of things that a player can do to build up a renown and become, famous and recognized in the game world by having these goals that they can set for themselves. And then for the casual players who don't want to have to chase after those goals, we have this open kind of casual fun world that they can go run around in too. So we're hoping we're offering the best of both worlds to all the players out there, so everybody can come play this game, play it the way they want to play it, and have a good time.
Something I noticed when I played it was that you mentioned the personal story there, and you have different objectives that take you sort of further onto that personal story, but you can sort of freely choose where to go and what to do. Mm-hmm. Is that something that is throughout the game, or is it just specific to areas that you have these choices?
Yeah, so that continues throughout the game. So basically, the personal story is kind of like the trail that guides you through the game world and gives you specific direction. And along the way, you make choices that branch and change your personal story. So you may get a choice where there's an orphanage or a hospital. They're going to get simultaneously attacked by bandits, and you got to pick which one it is that you want to save. And the guards are going to go to the other one and do their best to save that one. But you, as the hero, are going to go try to save one of those. And they're happening in two very distinct places. And you need to run to one of those locations and save it. And that sends you to a very different part of the world than if you go to, if you pick the hospital, you're going to go there. And the orphanage is in a different part of the world that you're not going to go to. If you pick a completely different story chain, that'll branch you all the way out in a different part of the world. And along the way, as you're going through these story steps, you encounter dynamic events that are kicking off and changing the world around you. And you get drawn into those and you participate in those. And what we've seen is some people entirely put their personal story aside for hours, and they go off and they do dynamic events for many hours, and they play with everybody else, and like, oh yeah, I have this personal story, now I'm going to go do that for a while. And they go off and they do that, and they evolve the story of their character for a little bit, and maybe they bring their friends along and they do their stories together, and then they discover an event as they're going to another story, and like, oh, I love this event, let's go play this one. So it's really, it's kind of a system that allows them to pick what they want to do, and whatever they feel like doing at the time, they can go there, do it, and have fun.
Because story in MMOs is a very interesting subject, and developers have chosen to sort of tackle it in various ways. But in this way, you're sort of building a framework that's sort of reminiscent of a traditional RPG for the player to experience, while you still have the dynamics of an open world MMO. Yeah,
definitely. That is our goal. We want to tackle story head on. And we want people to play Guild Wars 2 and come out of it saying, that story is as good or better as the best RPGs that I've ever played, period. We're not trying to make just an MMO. This is an MMORPG, and it needs to have the open world dynamic event elements that you would expect to find in an MMO, but it also needs to have the story and have the personal story that is fantastic and compelling and draws you in, has really good voice acting and story decisions that branch and change your story. All of that needs to be there for a fantastic RPG, and we're putting that element in too. So that's very, very important to us.